So today we are diving deep into a concept well, it's everywhere in self-development right now: manifestation.
Hmm.
Specifically, we're going to be unpacking the blueprint from Roxie Nafousi's guide, Manifest.
Right. And this isn't just about, wishing on stars or thinking about a sports car. The source material really frames this as a very structured, almost psychological blueprint.
Exactly. Our mission today is to really analyze these 7 steps she lays out.
And pull out the practical, actionable principles. Because she claims this is really about harnessing potential you already have.
I think you put your finger on it. This is basically self-development, just
Yep.
maybe rebranded for a new generation. It's about taking charge of your destiny, but through this very clear step-by-step framework.
It's a comprehensive approach. And, as the source suggests, a lot of people fall at the first hurdle.
Ambiguity.
Total ambiguity. If you don't really know what you're looking for, you're never going to see it when it shows up.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's unpack step 1. Be clear in your vision. This is the absolute foundation.
It is. You have to know where you're headed. And she says the more specific you are, the better. Like, if you want a new job, don't just say a new job.
Right. You need to think about the commute, the salary, what the office feels like, all of it.
But here's where it gets interesting and I think really helpful. What if you don't know the specifics?
Yeah, what if you're just feeling stuck?
Then the key, she says, is to focus on how you want your life to feel. Forget the material things for a second. Do you want to feel freedom, purpose, calm?
Oh, I like that. That kind of reframes the whole exercise. It's not about getting stuff. It's about cultivating a state of being.
Exactly. And that feeling is what powers the main tool here, which is visualization.
Which can sound a little bit out there for some people.
Well, she's very clear that this isn't just wishful thinking. It's about programming your subconscious. When you visualize with all your senses, the smells, the sounds, the feeling of success, you start aligning your brain to spot opportunities.
I think the source mentions something about neuroscience backing this up.
It does. It talks about priming the brain's reticular activating system. You're basically telling your brain what to look for in the world.
So for someone listening who wants to start today, what's the actual concrete exercise they should do?
It starts with a vision board, but with some very specific rules.
Okay.
You have to set a calm atmosphere. You categorize your life, love, career, health, whatever. And then comes the hard part. You have to ask yourself, can I dream bigger?
Because we tend to self-sabotage by setting safe, achievable goals.
We do. We pick what we think is realistic, not what we truly desire. And then, and this is the most unique part, you have to store the vision board somewhere private. Hide it.
Hide it. Why? After all that energy you put into it, why hide it away?
2 reasons, really. First, it makes sure your desires are totally honest without anyone else's judgment. But more importantly, hiding it encourages surrender.
You're letting go of the outcome.
You're trusting the process. You've set the destination. Now you just need to start walking, not constantly checking the map.
Which I think brings us to the real takeaway of step 1. It's not just about what you want to have. The real question is, who do you want to become?
Yes. You're visualizing your empowered future self. There's that great quote, everything you can imagine is real. It's that.
So we've got this clear vision, but now we have to do the heavy lifting, the internal work.
This is step 2. Remove fear and doubt. And this is where the whole system either works or it doesn't.
Right, because Nafousi is basically saying that manifestation comes from your sense of self-worth if you don't believe you deserve the vision.
Your subconscious will find a way to sabotage it. Every single time. Fear and doubt were just symptoms of low self-worth.
And the philosophy here is about healing the wound, not the symptom.
Exactly. That anxiety you feel, that rush of doubt, that's a trigger. It's a symptom of something deeper, usually a past experience. If you only deal with the anxiety in the moment, the pattern just repeats itself.
But what if you're just trying to get through the day? How do you stop to heal a wound when you're in the middle of a crisis? Does the source offer any kind of triage for that?
It's less about crisis intervention and more about consistent practice, so you build resilience before the crisis hits. The work is meant to be iterative, not an instant fix.
Okay, so what are the tools for that sustained work to get to the source of the wound?
Well, the first is intensive journaling. And this isn't just, Dear Diary. You take a recent trigger, you break down the emotions, and then you try to connect it back to a similar experience from your past, maybe from childhood. The crucial final step is to imagine and write down a healthier response you could have had. You're essentially rewriting the memory's emotional impact.
Wow, that's moving from just venting to actively disrupting a pattern. What's the other technique? Inner child meditation.
Yes, this is all about visualizing and nurturing your younger self. It sounds a bit mystical, but it's really an act of profound self-compassion.
So you're giving yourself the reassurance you didn't get back then.
Exactly. You, as the adult, show up for that 5-year-old who felt abandoned or scared. And that starts to heal the triggers that are still running the show in your adult life. It builds self-love.
Which is the engine for all of this.
It's the engine. And that self-love helps you build internal validation so you stop needing so much approval from the outside world.
Okay, but we have to bring in the critical interpretation here. The book is very focused on individual self-worth, but there are external forces, right?
This is such a vital nuance. And the text does note that critics, and you can look at research from people like Brene Brown, remind us that self-worth doesn't just happen in a vacuum.
Society, systemic issues, the messages we get every day.
All of that shapes how we see ourselves. And that, in turn, affects our ability to believe we deserve more. So the framework demands personal responsibility, yes, but we can't ignore the context.
It helps prevent self-blame when things get hard later on.
It does, which is the perfect transition, really. Because once you've started building that inner worthiness, you are obligated to make your outside world match it.
And that means action. Step 3, align your behavior.
Yes, you can't just sit and meditate. It's the difference between saying you're worthy and acting like you're worthy.
Your behavior has to reflect that new self-worth.
And that almost always means stepping out of your comfort zone. Familiar routines just create familiar results.
So what are the exercises for this step?
There are 2 main ones. First is visualize your future self, but in granular detail. 5 years from now, what's their morning routine? What boundaries do they have? How do they feel when they wake up?
So it's not just a vague fantasy.
Not at all. And the second part is the commitment letter. You list 10 real, actionable changes you'll make today to start living like that person.
Like if my future self is a writer, my commitment today is to block out an hour for writing and turn off my phone.
Exactly. Concrete and measurable.
So once you commit to those actions, you have to be ready for what comes next. Step 4, overcome tests from the universe.
Yeah, and this is another thing that's often misunderstood. It's not the universe throwing rocks at you.
Yeah.
It's just life happening. These are moments of choice.
They're tests of your new self-worth.
Precisely. They tempt you to go back to your old patterns. A job offer comes in that's good enough, but not your dream job. The old you would say take it. The new you has to hold the boundary.
Which is where the power of saying no comes in.
It's paramount.
Yeah.
Every time you say yes to something that drains you or doesn't align with your vision, you're lowering your vibration and telling the universe you'll settle. Boundaries are the active defense of your worthiness.
And that leads right into the idea to stop settling.
This is critical. You have to look at all the little ways you compromise in relationships, at work, and then identify the limiting belief that's driving it. The source is so clear on this. If you accept less than you deserve, you're sending a signal that contradicts your vision.
Step 4 also covers letting go, which feels like the hardest part.
It can be the most painful. Accepting that a relationship or a path just isn't right for the person you're becoming. But you have to redefine failure or rejection.
See it as a redirection.
An opportunity for redirection.
Yeah.
And you have to maintain self-compassion through that process.
Mm.
It's a lesson, not a judgment on you.
That sets us up perfectly for the next part, which is about actively raising your emotional frequency. Step 5, embrace gratitude.
Yes, gratitude is framed as one of the highest vibrational emotions you can feel. It's the conscious activation of an abundance mindset.
The most practical shift the book suggests is a language one, changing I have to I get to.
It sounds so small, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the psychological impact is huge.
I have to go to work versus I get to go to work.
One implies a burden, the other implies opportunity and stability. It completely reframes your entire day, your entire life, if you do it consistently.
And this ties into a concept I love, slow drip dopamine.
Isn't that a brilliant phrase?
It's fantastic.
Instead of chasing these huge, fleeting highs, like a promotion or a burst of external validation, you focus on appreciating the small, ordinary joys.
The taste of your coffee, the sun on your face,
Yeah.
the comfort of your home. That appreciation for the mundane fuels a stable, sustainable, high vibrational state. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And from that state, we can tackle the next big energy drain, comparison.
Step 6, turn envy into inspiration. Envy is low vibrational. It comes directly from a scarcity mindset.
The belief that there isn't enough success or happiness to go around.
And if you're truly committed to this abundance mindset we've been building, you have to transform that feeling.
Wow.
You acknowledge the envy, you don't pretend it's not there, you look at what it's triggering in you, and then you consciously pivot. You see that other person's success not as something you lack, but as proof that it's possible for you too.
Their success becomes a signpost, not a threat.
Exactly. It's a high vibrational signal that the path is open. Wow, okay. This has been a really practical journey. We've gone from getting clear on a vision to healing our internal blocks,
Yeah.
to aligning our actions, navigating the tests, and then consciously raising our energy with gratitude.
So what's the final synthesis? What's the one message that ties all 7 steps together?
That manifestation is not passive. It's not magic. It demands continuous, conscious inner work and a non-negotiable commitment to self-love. It's all about becoming the person who is already a vibrational match for the life they want.
We talked a lot about step 4, about the courage to let go of what's draining you. That act, which can feel like failure, is really an act of creation. The ultimate challenge isn't just defining what you want, but having the courage to release what's pulling you down right now. So as you're listening to this, think about that person you're choosing to become. The one from step 1 with that clear vision. What is one single uncomfortable boundary you need to set this week 1 choice to say no, to prove your own worthiness to yourself? That's where it all begins.